So welcome to the MySQL State of the Dolphin. The first slide, if you're familiar with the event, you should have seen this several times in the past, but there are some new people, so I will let show just a few seconds. And as there are new people, just briefly who I am. So my name is Frédéric Descamps. I'm known as Fred. I'm a MySQL evangelist working with MySQL for a long time. So I think the first version I installed was 3.23. I'm DevOps believer. I'm from Belgium. And I have a blog which is quite popular and gives a lot of information about MySQL. So MySQL 8 is out for 2 years now, right? It was GA for 2 years. And my plan now is to say, where are we now? And explain a bit what we have done in MySQL 8. So first, as you can see from DB Engine, we are still the most popular open source database. So we are very proud of that, and we try to keep that way. And we also got to the DBMS of the year. So we really appreciate that, and we are very proud of it. So if we check the Stack Overflow survey, we can see that also, and this is something really make us very happy, is that MySQL is still the most popular database for the developers. And all what we do is also focus on that because we want to keep that leadership, right? And as Peter mentioned it, so we are doing this for a long time now, right? And this is now, this month, the 25th anniversary of MySQL. So we are also very, very happy about this achievement and this anniversary. Let's hope we will have 25 extra ones also, right? And so when we came GA with the MySQL 8, as you can see there, it came in April 2018. The first thing that people said, and not even us from MySQL, was that was a giant leap for SQL. So if I take here like a tweet and the information comes from modern SQL, right? They said, and they grant us for making MySQL 8 more, supporting more the standards and the SQL standard. And this is something we really focus on. And there were some, and we agree that in the previous version, there was some missing points, and still there are, and we are working on that to fix all this gap. And as you can see, so we are very happy when it came out 2 years ago in GA. And what happened in these 2 years, you can see in this slide, not made by the slide made by me, but all the points there are from Marcus Whelan from Modern SQL, right? And you can see that MySQL, with MySQL 8, tries to support more and more all this SQL standard and previous standard, but also the new ones and the recent. So as there are a lot of people not knowing or never attended Percona Live in the past, I was asking earlier on the Slack, I wanted to give a small overview of something we did in MySQL 8 that sometimes people are not aware of. When I go discussing around the world, seeing students, and they say, oh, when will MySQL support that? We do. For example, common table expression and recursive common table expression. This is part of MySQL 8. So in MySQL 8, if you didn't know, we support this with the with keyword, we support that. Same for lateral. Lateral was requested. True that before MySQL 8, we were not supporting it. And when MySQL 8 came GA, it was not yet there. And as you can see in 8.014, we brought that to the community with MySQL 8 now supports lateral. Same for the Windows function. A lot of people were asking about Windows function when they are very complicated queries, and they were missing that. And in MySQL 8 comes with the Windows function. You can see here an example with Belgium, where I come from, and it's very, very popular and very powerful. But I can see still now that a lot of people, even if they use MySQL 8, are not aware of MySQL supporting this. in the community Slack, we see a lot of questions that we can fix easily using Windows Function, for example. And as I said earlier, we also support the SQL standards, SQL 92, but also, if I remember correctly, the JSON table, it's an SQL standard 2016, and MySQL 8 supports that too, right? You can have now a document, a JSON document, because maybe you know, but JSON documents is the JSON, it's a native data type in MySQL now, in MySQL 8, and also in MySQL 7, but we use it a lot in MySQL 8. So we have this full JSON data type natively, and it's possible to use the JSON table function to deal with that JSON document as it was a relational table, right? And as we talk about the JSON, I wanted to also highlight that MySQL 8 is also a document store. So we can do SQL with relational table, foreign keys, all we do usually, but we can also do NoSQL now in MySQL. So we can store no documents and have a collection without any schema, and all that using the XDev API. That means that you can use the X protocol that is default in MySQL 8. So users now and developers can query the data without knowing even SQL. So we support this CRUD operation for the collections. So this is our example. So we can add documents. We just do collection add. We can look into, so read data with the find method. We can modify, we can remove. So we can do create, read, update, delete, which are the CRUD operation. So this is very important for us. And when I show this to students, for example, they are so amazed about that because they really like, and in fact, they don't like SQL. I love SQL, and I think SQL it's powerful, and we still need it. But to start with, a lot of people are afraid to store their data because they don't know SQL. So now it's possible to use MySQL without one single line of SQL. If you want, you can also mix SQL and NoSQL in the same connection of MySQL, but I have plenty of slides, or I can answer a question on that later if you want, but it's not the key of this session. So MySQL support JSON and CRUD operations. So here it's an example. So what you can see is that it's very easy to query documents without knowing SQL. And these data are just JSON documents in the database. So as I like to say, and we see a lot of time, no SQL plus SQL, it's MySQL, right? So other than SQL standard, other than document store with NoSQL, JSON, MySQL 8 brought something very important for us, and we started to refactoring the optimizer, for example. So we did a lot of work there, and we have now a new Iterator executor. So this new Iterator executor, it's modular, it's very easy to extend from our developers. Each of these iterator can encapsulate each other and only one operation, and then you can put them, you can connect them one by one, and it's very easy to improve and to extend the possibilities. So this is something very, very hot for us, and that we worked a lot on that. The optimizer team worked a lot on this to bring that, and thanks to that, what happened is that it gave us a lot of new possibilities with the optimizer. And one of them, so the first one that finally the user could see, was the new format of the explain. So now when you do explain format 3, so you know that there was explain without any format, there was explain with the JSON format, and now there is format 3. So with the format 3, you have this output, which is very common in other relational database and very popular. So we have that now in MySQL. So we can see at each step what we are doing and what's our estimation. Next to that, when we had the format tree, because of the new iterator executor, we could add other stuff. And what we added in MySQL 8, it's something that a lot of people were also asking for, is the explain analyze. So now we can have instrumentation and execution of the query at the same time and analyze that. So we can see what the optimizer estimates for cost, but also what are the real costs or what are the real statistics of it for all part of the query. So this helps a lot when you need to do query optimization, and it is something very, very needed, but also not known a lot yet from people. We see still people using MySQL 8 and they don't run the explain analyze even if when it's available. And we always tell them, please run that. It gives it a lot of information. So this is an example of explain analyze. So we can see here, compared to the explain tree, that we have more information. And here is the actual time that, for example, we get the first row and the time to get all the rows. So we can see where we are spending time, how many rows were read, and how many times. So the loop happened for this. So this is very, very detailed information that is very useful when you do query optimization. So other than the explain, this new iterator brings us something also very popular and very quick. And I know there are some sessions, there will be one session during the conference about that, is the hash join. So usually hash join is faster than the nested loop and for large result set. And the implementation of the hash join in MySQL 8, it's an hybrid implementation, meaning that we're going to use memory as when it's possible. And if it is not possible to use memory to execute all the hash join, we will split to disk what is necessary. So this is about the implementation, so which is different than others. And also now, the first time when it came out, it was not for all type of join. With 8.0.2020, it's hash join are available for all the type of join. So inner join, equi-join, outer join, semi-join, and anti-join. Therefore, because we support all of them, we're going to replace, it's replacing the block nested loop in the query plans. So you won't see a block nested loop anymore in the query plans now because hash join will be used. So if we check the performance on the data using hash join compared to block nested loop, so when there is no indexes, because of course indexes are also very good for performance when you can create them and when you can have them. But in case you need to do some queries where the index are not possible to be used, you can see that the hash join is much faster than a block nested loop. So this is why we have implemented that. So this is almost what I will say about Optimizer. There is a lot of extra feature. If you want to know more about MySQL 8, please check previous session of MySQL 8. There was one from Geir at FOSDEM that is that shows a lot more about implementation in the optimizer and what happened, what's new in MySQL 8. And now I will, because I have a few amount of time, of course, I want to show also what we did, some latest change that we did in InnoDB and binary logs, for example, in 8.0.20, related to performance and scalability. So if you are following the evolution of MySQL and MySQL 8, you should know that in 8.0.20, we have a new double write buffer. So when this is an example, when we are an IO bound system, very IO bound, this is very important to know that this is an IO bound system, you can see that MySQL 8, thanks to the new double write buffer, will perform much better than 5.7. And as this is a slide from Dimitri, we should not forget Dimitri's flame, right? They are not exactly the same, but he likes that. So this is something that we are very happy, and you will see in the future, we will, there is a lot of improvement in InnoDB, new stuff we are doing to improve it more and more. But this one gives a already fix a lot of issues. Other thing we are very happy and very proud in 8.20 is the new Binlog compression. So a lot of users were waiting for it, asking for it. So now it is. So thank you for Jesper, because he wrote a blog post about it, and I took the image from his blog post. So you can see here, or you can save a lot of size. You can save network about how we about the Binlog compression. Binlog compression happens in transaction, so we compress the full transaction, and you can specify a different type of compression. So this is also something very new and very powerful and very useful for people. Something that is not in 8.20, but I want to highlight because this is one of my favorite feature, and I think this was a game changer, and it is a game changer. But not everybody knows about it yet. And when I see questions in forum and stuff, I still have a lot of questions related to that. And people are not using it that much because they don't know it. But when they know it, they cannot go away of it because it's wonderful. And this is the MySQL Clone. So MySQL Clone, it's something very powerful. It allows you to populate new instances. So that can be a master and replicas, or can be part of InnoDB cluster in a group application, a new member. You can provision data very quickly just from the SQL layer. So this is something very powerful, and it's well integrated in MySQL shell too. So here, for example, this is an output in the MySQL shell. So this is very fast. I know Simon might make some blog post about testing it. So I invite you to have a look to see some numbers there if you are looking for that. But MySQL Clone is very nice, and you should use it. And now the transition, it's easy with what Matt said earlier. Matt was saying about, we need to make stuff easy also and automate a lot, right? And this is where MySQL 8 is also focusing a lot of energy. So the MySQL team are working a lot to make this database architecture much easier and much easy to deploy, because we have seen so many deployments that are crazy, but really crazy, and sometimes not needed. So when I talk about this easy solution, the first one that comes in mind of people that follows me will be InnoDB cluster. And of course, InnoDB cluster, it's one product that gives you HA and scaling features, so you can scale your reads very easily with it, and it's all integrated. So this is how a cluster looks like. So you have applications, you have server routers, then you have your cluster of a server, of MySQL server with the group application, and all it's orchestrated by the shell. So it gives you MySQL service HA, completely high available. It has fault tolerance, automatic failover. It can be active, so multi-primary, but some limits apply there. So watch out to read what are the limits if you plan to use it. It has also, you can, all the membership management can be automatic. So in case one node has a network issue, it can be removed from the cluster, or you can do that manually from the shell if you want. There is conflict detection, and this solution is the only one that in MySQL that really prevents you from data loss. So if data is your concern, you should go for MySQL InnoDB cluster. And of course, it's GPL. So we're very happy about that too. Other than that, and this is maybe not well known because it's quite new, it's from 8.19, it's the MySQL InnoDB ReplicaSet. So this is also completely integrated with the MySQL router. It's also all orchestrable by the MySQL shell, and it uses the clone plugin to do the provisioning automatically, all that. So it's exactly the same as InnoDB cluster to set up, and I will show you that. But it is different because this one uses asynchronous replication, so it can give you read scale out, but it's not automated. Not everything is automated. There is no let's say, primary choose when one has an issue. All that has to be manual, because as you can see here, we don't need 3 nodes at least, but 2 can be enough. And you don't need to rely on a very good network. If you have some flaky network, this solution is for you, because it uses synchronous replication. So these 2 solutions, the goals of them was to have one product, which is MySQL, and all these components are tested together. They are all integrated components. They are SysQA together. They are developed together, and deliver all together. And the most important for us, it's easy to use. So you have only one client, which is the MySQL shell, to orchestrate all that. And to integrate all of that. And also sometimes it's very important is to have homogeneous servers. So you can have different servers on different OS to use your architecture. Also something new that a lot of people doesn't know yet, it's that since 8.19, all these 2 solutions support DNSSRV with our connectors. So it's very, you can use this service discovery, and then no need to change anything. It's very, very easy and to deploy that. So I said it's easy to deploy. So here is the difference between the InnoDB cluster and the replica set, for example. So you connect to one server and you just do, okay, I want to create a cluster, or you want to create a replica set. Then you say, oh, I want to add a machine. I need to configure it. And because MySQL add 8 at set persist to change the configuration and persist configuration, and the shell is using all that, you can do, I want to configure an instance for a cluster, or I want to configure a replica set instance for replica sets. You can add then the machine to your cluster or to your replica set by using add instance. And then to bootstrap a router, it's very easy. You just do bootstrap your router and connect it to one of the machine, and it's very, very easy. So as you can see, the MySQL shell, it's the center or the heart of many of our product of MySQL. You can use the admin API with it for deploying a cluster or replica set. You can use the Dev API with it in JSON or in Python to do document store, or to do whatever you want, because the MySQL shell is very extensible. So you can extend without limit what you can do with the shell. If you can write JavaScript or Python, you can do whatever you want. So this is an example, for example, of a plugin I wrote. And if you're interested in many plugins to create your own or to just test them, here it's a repository where you can find plugins. And finally, I wanted to also the new what you call that transition with what Peter was saying earlier about all these licenses, right? So MySQL did all that for 25 years without changing the license, and the license for us is GPL. So MySQL is GPL, and I hear a lot of time everywhere that it's not true. This is not the case. MySQL is GPL. So the MySQL server is GPL. The MySQL router is GPL. The MySQL shell is GPL. The clone plugin, this awesome product, is GPL. The workbench is GPL. All that is GPL, and we accept contribution. And as a session cannot happen without numbers, I want to show you also some very numbers. I'm very proud as a community manager of it. And so MySQL 8 is also 264 contributions so far. It is 58 contributors that are not our employees, so external contributors. And the top 3 contributors so far are Facebook, are Daniel Van Ede, and Arenas. So big applause. I don't know if you can applaud from in front of your screen, but I do. So thank you very much. But I don't only want to thank these 3 top contributors, but I want to thank you all of them. So this is the 58 contributors for MySQL. So kudos to you guys. Thank you very much. And you did a very good job promoting and helping MySQL. So You can join the MySQL community Slack. You go on my blog and you will find how to join it. There is a lot of people there answering a lot of questions. Sometimes developers are there, MySQL team is there, so, and a lot of other DBA. So if you have questions, this is the right place to be. Like I said, MySQL 8 is great and you need to go there. And now the DBA certification is also available to be taken in the Oracle University. So you can do this DBA exam, and the developer exam will be also soon available. We are finishing it. So I think I'm still in time. So thank you very much. One word is that MySQL 5.6 will be end of line soon, so it's time to upgrade. And if you need to upgrade to MySQL 8 because MySQL 8 is great. So thank you very much, Matt. I'm done. 2 minutes in advance.
Lovely, Fred. Thank you very much. And there was actually a couple questions. We've got a couple minutes, so Simon wanted to know: is cloning still same version only?
So let me stop. Yes, I think so. There is, to be honest, there is no technical limits on that, right? It's just, yeah, it was like that, and we need to, I think one version up should be okay, but currently it doesn't allow it. But it's a work in progress.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Fred, and thank everybody at MySQL from all of us here for 25 great years of really helping promote open source software and open source databases. It's been a great ride, and we all appreciate everything that you've done.